Hi everybody, welcome back to LABrary. It's Mr. Travis here, and I just wanted to follow up from last week's challenge where, well, what we made were some dice. We just made some dice out of paper. No. And then what we did for our challenge is actually we wrote something on each of the sides of each of the dice. And so on one of the die, I wrote down things, because we were doing a building challenge. It's just sort of a fun way to give yourself a challenge of something you might not think of using to build things with. So on one of the die I just said find 6, because there's 6 different sides on a die, 6 different things that you could potentially build with. So I had like paper, I had cardboard, straws, duct tape, toothpicks, and zip ties on this one. And then on the other side, or on the other die, I said, what you're going to build. And so I did a castle, some sort of vehicle, a building, a type of food, a tower, or an animal. And then what you do simply is you just roll the die. Or they roll the dice. And so on this one I would say, oh, I'd have to make a building out of toothpicks. Or, let's see, a tower out of duct tape. So then it's up to you to figure out, you know, how long you want to do this, how involved you want to get, how tall your tower has to be. So I have some pictures here that'll show you just a few of the things I made. One of the ones I had an animal and I had zip ties. And so the first thing that kind of came to me, because I said, well, what could I make? What do the zip ties kind of look like? And I thought, oh, you know what? They kind of look like the tentacles, the tentacle arms of an octopus. And so I put some zip ties together and then used another zip tie to kind of wrap it around to kind of make a head, and then so it had 8 little tentacles. And then another challenge I had was a building and paper, and I decided that one of the challenges I gave myself is that I could only use the materials, the material itself. So I wasn't going to use any like tape, or I wasn't going to use anything else to hold things together. So I thought, oh, you know what, I think would hold better if I was going to make a building and not using tape and that kind of thing. I thought a pyramid might hold up pretty well. So I cut paper in like triangle shapes and made just a small pyramid. And then I got another one where I was going to do a tower out of straws. That one kind of took me a while. I wasn't able to get it all that high, but basically what I did is I made like a tripod kind of thing where it had 3 legs, and then I used straws to tie the straws together to sort of hold them together. And yeah, I think I got 4 or 5 straws high before I had a hard time keeping it together. So those are just a couple of the ideas that I did. But the other kind of fun things you can do at home with just this sort of idea, it doesn't have to be building projects. It can be all sorts of things. It can be, you know, like traveling. Can you go around the block? You're skipping. Or can you go up the stairs, you know, on your hands and feet? Those kinds of things. So you can try all sorts of things. You can do it with art. You know, can you paint a picture using, you know, dirt? You know, these kinds of things. You know, paint a self-portrait using dirt. So it kind of just gets you an idea of thinking about about creating, making, doing things in a different way. And it's also just a fun game. It just unlocks your imagination. So I hope you had fun with that, and I'll have a new challenge for you next week. All right, thanks.
Hi everyone, welcome back to LABrary. I'm Miss Kathleen, and this week we will be exploring some more fun things together. Today we are going to talk about secret science experiments. What, you ask, are secret science experiments? Well, it is just a fun name that I have given to some tricky science experiments that we're going to do together. And you have probably heard of some of these experiments before. I thought it would be fun to come up with a few that are easy to follow through with at home. They call for just a few items, and maybe you will have some fun tricking the people that you live with in the process. We won't call them pranks, maybe mysteries for your family to solve. So each of these experiments is going to feature a secret message from you. So the message could be like a smiley face or a pattern, or it could actually be a word, whatever you want to do. So I wanted to ask you what these things have in common. Okay, so we have a roll of paper towels, we have a piece of white bread, a lemon, let's see, a Q-tip, a paintbrush, some dishwashing soap, and a white crayon. So what they all have in common is they are all components of our tricky experiments this week. So the first one works best with white bread. If you have white bread, I have sourdough bread. That's what that piece of bread was. And then I have wheat bread. It works well with the wheat bread too. So you don't have to go and buy special bread for it, okay? So this one uses white bread, or whatever bread you have, a lemon, and a paintbrush or a Q-tip or cotton swab, okay? Okay, you are going to lightly paint lemon juice on the bread in some kind of pattern or word that you have chosen before. And I would recommend making it pretty simple. And I would also recommend making the mystery marks on both sides of the bread, because when it comes out of the oven toasted, you don't know which side is going to have your mystery picture or word on it. So if you do it on both sides, then you're covered. So you will, after you paint it, or dab on the lemon juice very lightly, you don't need to soak it or anything, let it dry for a minute or two before carefully putting the piece of bread back in with the rest of the loaf. You want to make sure that the message gets seen. So whatever person toasts the bread will see your secret science message. So make sure that you hang out around breakfast time. Okay, so for this next one, you will need a roll of paper towels, but be careful not to detach the one that you're going to make the message on from the paper towel roll, okay? And you'll need a white crayon or pastel crayon. I had a pastel crayon, so that's what I used. If you use a regular crayon, I know this will make sense to you, you might want to warm it up a little bit, but using a blow dryer, or you can just hold it in your hand until it's warm, or let it sit out in the sun or in a sunny place just for a little while. Not until it's melted into a puddle, but it will work better and it won't tear the paper towel if you, when you use it to write your secret message or to put your drawing on there. Okay, now leave the paper towel on the roll. It's important because you want someone to discover the trick, but not until after they've cleaned up something messy. So if you happen to be nearby, maybe you could accidentally knock over a little bit of colorful juice or soda or something like that. You want it to be colorful because your white message is going to show up better if it's colorful, okay? Because it'll be a contrast. All right, the last secret science experiment happens in the bathroom. Okay. You can leave a message on the mirror in the bathroom that only shows up after someone has taken a shower and it has steamed up the mirror. So the message can't be seen until the bathroom becomes steamy from the shower, okay? You could write a kind message or something funny or just a picture like before. It's up to you. All you need for this is a small cup of plain water, and you're going to mix just a few drops of dish soap into it. You don't want it to be sudsy or anything because you don't want suds on the mirror to show up. Then you're going to dip your cotton swab in and make sure it's not dripping wet. So squeeze it out or dab it on a towel or something before you write on the mirror, and then let it dry. You want to make sure that the mirror is pretty clean before you do this, because if it has any dust on it, you'll be able to see the words already because the soap is going to attract whatever dust to it. Okay, so it will dry and then only show up when the mirror has steam on it. All right, so next week, we will talk about the science of what has been happening with these experiments, and we'll show what we've done. Please remember to share on social media at Meridian Library or in the comments below. See you next time. Bye.